What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with the review for Sistas on BET, Season 5, Episode 13, and the episode is titled Feeling the Heat. So, you guys, if you guys can hear a loud roar in the background, it is my freezer. I don't know why it's making this rather loud noise. It's been making it for the last few nights, and it is really infuriating. It's getting on my last damn nerve. So I'm gonna have to call somebody to come out here and look at it this weekend because I can't continue to listen to that shit. It is very loud. Very, very, very loud. But before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and aren't subscribed to the channel, then do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys can do me that favor by liking the video, you guys subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and just discuss Sistas, shall we? All right, you guys, so this episode, we pick up where the last one left off with the prosecutor. So you guys know that the prosecutor wants Maurice to, flip on Sabrina, and he's trying to show him that Sabrina signed some things. He's trying to show Maurice that show a video of Sabrina signing the things. And I'm so happy that Maurice didn't fall for it. And Maurice was like, sir, you can get out of my face. Please and thank you, right? So then we move over to Fatima. So Fatima did admit to Andy that she is engaged. And, Fatima says to, Andy, the reason why she didn't tell her is because you're going to tell Karen. And, Andy was like, I'm not going to tell Karen. So then, Fatima shows Andy Tamara and tell her Tamara's a plan to basically, go after Hayden, milk Hayden for all that he's gotten, right? And then, Andy's asking Fatima, so are you going to marry Zach? And Fatima was like, well, I do love Zach, but this whole issue with Karen and if this is his baby. And Andy makes a face and Fatima was like, what was that face? And he was like, what are you talking about? She said, you just made a face. So she didn't tell her that Karen is saying that the baby is Zach's, which we all believe that Karen is lying through her damn teeth, right? So they talk about that. And then, she makes mention once again to not knowing if this baby is Zach's. And then Andy makes that face again. She's like, what was that face? Andy says nothing. She says, for you to be a lawyer, you're a terrible liar, right? So then, she told Fatima she can go. And, she told Fatima that she's going to be meeting up with the girls. And Fatima made a face. She's like, what is that face? She's like, anytime you girls get together, it's either drama or a party. And this one, with Karen being pregnant, it's going to be drama. So let's pause here and move forward, you guys. Now, we move over to the airport. We're with Danny. So Danny is getting ready to leave for the day, right? And then Q walks up to her, right? Saying, can I walk you to your car? And I'm like, you just got your ass beat with a golf club. I'm pretty sure your bones and your body is just hurting, right? So Danny even asked him the question. She's like, you walking me to my car. What are you going to do? All beat up like that, right? So then, she says, okay, come on. Well, she told him she's going to, meet her. I don't know if she's going to meet her or not. But he asked her, can he hit her pen? She's like, what are you talking about? Your vape pen. So they had a back and forth, and Danny eventually said, come on, let's go. You can take one hit of the pen, right? Then he was like, and there's a bar right nearby, and we can go out for a drink. She said, you can hit the pen. He said, he kept trying to talk her into going to the bar, right? So we moved back over to Calvin. So Calvin got a phone call this time from Maurice. And, Maurice is just basically letting Calvin know that the prosecutor came in. The prosecutor is telling him that Sabrina and Q are working together to pin this on to Maurice. And, Calvin's like, it's not Sabrina. It's just Q's old raggedy ass, right? So then, Maurice tells Calvin that the prosecutor also told him that Sabrina signed a deal to get herself out of jail. And Maurice, and not Maurice, but Calvin is like, that's not true either. He says what happened is Andy was able to come down there and get Sabrina out of jail. Sabrina didn't flip on you. And then, Maurice tells Calvin that the prosecutor wants him to turn on Sabrina. And, Calvin is really trying to talk to Maurice and just trying to talk Maurice out of doing, and Maurice is like, he's not gonna do it. Y'all would kill me though with Maurice was that, he was talking about the men there are looking at his bosom. I was like, if he does not sound like Blanche Devereaux talking about her perky bosoms, if he don't sound like Blanche, I don't know what. Let's pause here, you guys, and move on to the next. So, you guys, Fatima, she eventually left for work for the day, right? So she pulls up to the house, and Zach surprises her. He opens the door for her, and he's gonna escort her in the house, right? So he tells her to close her eyes and, follow him. So they go inside, and Zach has set up this romantic dinner for him and Fatima. He went to get some gas station wine. I was like, gas station wine, Zach? But you know what? It's the thought that counts, right? So Zach just basically, he loves Fatima, and Zach just wants to make this whole thing with Fatima official. He wants to go down to the justice of the peace and just say their I do's, right? But Fatima is still kind of, because we still got to deal with Karen and we still got to deal with Heather. So she was like, you know what? We're going to call up Karen, invite Karen over to the house tonight, and we're going to talk to Karen. And Zach was like, I don't want to invite Karen over here. Like, that's going to mess him up, not wanting to eat. I'm with Zach. I would not, having a phone conversation with Karen, I would not want to eat after having a phone conversation with Karen. Absolutely not, right? So Fatima eventually told Zach to call Karen up, and we're gonna have a conversation with Karen tonight. So we move over to Karen's salon, and Karen has done Sabrina's hair, and it looks really good, right? So then Pam comes up to Sabrina, is like, I liked your hair the way it was, natural. What made you, where have you been that made you change your hair? So Sabrina was like, you know what? I'm going to meet you at Andy's. So I'm going to go. And so once Sabrina left, Pam wanted to know what's going on. And Karen was like, nothing. I'm about to go to the bank and you lock up. I've unplugged everything, so you just lock up. So the phone rings, and it was Zach calling her, right? So Pam was like, I want to hear this. She was like, go to the back, Pam. So she answers the phone, and it's Zach and Fatima on the line, and they're inviting her over to come talk. She was like, so if I come over, you gonna let me in the house this time? Girl, he just invited you over. What are you? Somebody left it in the comments last week about how Tyler has written Karen. Karen is, unfortunately, I say unfortunately because in the beginning, I think a lot of people empathize with Karen, with the situation that Karen was going through with Zach, but the trajectory of Karen's character has made her she's one of the most hated characters on this show. Now, of the girls, she's definitely the most hated of the girls, but I don't know, for me, she's not the most hated character. You guys know the characters that I can't stand, right? You guys know Karen is one of those characters that I don't like, but she's not the most hated for me. The most hated for me, and I won't even say hated, the ones that I have a strong, I'll say most hated because they're not real people. The most hated characters for me, top two, Hayden and Gary. Those are the top two, right? And then Karen is number three. But I just really wish that Tyler would write Karen so much differently. The bitterness, the anger, and all that kind of stuff, I'm just sick of it when it comes to Karen. Kind of like how I said with Fatima, the badass. I want to see a softer side of Fatima, and I want to see a happier side of Karen, if that exists. So after Karen got off the phone with Fatima and Zach because she said she's gonna come over, right? She calls Andy up and she's like, Andy, did you tell Zach and Fatima, did you tell Fatima that did you tell Fatima? And Andy was like, I didn't. She was like, why? She was like, they called me and they want me to come over there. And she was like, say what now? She said, you know what? She said, and Karen told them she's gonna come over before she goes to see the girls, right? So Andy was like, oh, so you're gonna go over there? Well, I'm coming too. So Andy they hung up the phone with each other, right? So Andy called, Fatima and said, so you guys have invited Karen over? She was like, yes. She's like, I'm on my way. So is Karen and Andy on their way over to Zach and Fatima's home. But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. Oh, you guys, Danny, I really thought Danny would have kind of, learned a lesson after Jonah, not to just go to the bar with anybody. But Danny and Q are at the bar. Now, thankfully, she didn't go home with Q. Q was trying to, she said she had to go meet her friends. He was like, can I come with you? Sir, hell no. But you know what? That would have been good if she said, come with me, because then she would have found out who he really is and the fact that he was the reason that Sabrina was in jail. But, it is what it is, right? But she did ask him, why is he pushing up on her so hard? And that's a good question, too. Girl, this is because the nigga ain't got nothing. So then we move back over to Hayden and Tamara. So they're still in his office. And, Tamara asked him, is he single? He said no, but then he said yes, right? So, he tells her he'll look at her case and let her know he'll get back to her, right? So then he stands up and she's like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. He was like, what are you talking about? She said, you're hard. He says, no, I'm not. She says, yes, you are. He says, oh, baby, that's just that's natural. I'm just gifted. I could have sworn Fatima said you had a little dick, but, go ahead, Kaden. Boost up your little ego, right? So then Tamara invites him to go have a drink with her, and he obliges her, so they're going to go out, right? So we're going to pause here and wrap up this episode, you guys. All right, you guys, so we move over to Danny's crib. So you guys remember, Preston is staying at Danny. So Danny comes in, and, Danny asks Preston what has he been doing all day. So she asks him, has he thought about that girl? And I'm like, Danny, why don't you just flat out ask him, like, so Preston, why do you still have the ring? You come back to me, but why do you still have that ring for the girl? That is always my issue when it comes to Danny, that Danny just kind of talks over things that are bothering her, and she never just flat out says what it is, right? So then Preston asked her, about her hitting Jonah's car, because I guess, wait a minute. So let's just let's talk about this. Let's just unpack this situation right here, right? Let's unpack it, because I have so many issues with this situation, right? So her landlord knew that she hit Jonah's car, right? Her landlord also said that she saw Jonah hit her. And, Danny was like, that nosy bitch. She said she heard it from her. She must have heard it from the walls, right? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, so if you heard Danny getting slapped around by Jonah, why didn't you come out and try to, say something, do something? I get that you're a woman and you probably were in fear, but bitch, call the goddamn cops. Like, Danny was in fear that she took this man's life, and your raggedy ass is sitting next door listening to her get hit on and spat on by a man. Again, I'm not saying for you to go out there and try to break up the situation, but you could have at least called the cops, bitch. Like, call the damn cops. Like, but Danny told Preston she doesn't want to talk about it right now, but she will talk about it with him later, right? She just wants to go hang out with the girls and that be it, right? So then we see Calvin. So Calvin went over to Sabrina's crib to ask Sabrina, like, how are you doing? And Sabrina's like, she's okay. So he tells her that he talked to Marie. She said, how is he? So he tells her about the prosecutor saying that, basically, she and Q are working together to conspire against Maurice. And we all know that's not true. Then he tells her that the prosecutor wants for Maurice to give her up. And she's like, Maurice knows that I wouldn't do that, right? And Calvin says yes. So then there was a knock at the door. Sabrina says, come in. And it was Bayo. When is the last time we saw Bayo? You guys, I can't even tell you the last time we saw Bayo. I feel like we saw Bayo in the first half of, the last time we saw Bayo was before Sabrina was arrested. And that was the first half of season 4, right? I feel like that's the last time we saw Bayo, right? That is, the last time we saw Bayo is when Danny and Sabrina were at the store, and those two women came up to her because when she found out he was royalty. That is the last time we saw Bayo, and now we see Bayo in this episode. Child, ain't that interesting, right? And once again, Bayo does not know how to read the damn room, right? You guys remember the first time that Sabrina was on a date with Calvin, he walked up to Sabrina and Calvin. He flirted with Sabrina in front of Calvin, who was on a date with her, but he thought that he was a good Judy. And then this time he's just talking to Sabrina, and I was like, you don't see Calvin sitting right there in that fluorescent ass blouse on? I mean, granted, he was just checking on Sabrina, and I don't have an issue with that. But the thing is, she said, you knocked. So that was polite. You knocked. She let you in. She told you to come in. When you saw Calvin, you could have at least said, hi. Hi. Don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to check on Sabrina. And that'd be that. Calvin had a little bit of an attitude with him. So then we move over to Fatima. So Fatima got a phone call from Tamara, just basically giving her the rundown, telling her that, she finna take this little nigga for all he got, right? So Karen and Andy pull up at the house together, right? So, Andy's still trying to figure out why did they call her, Karen her. And Karen's like, I don't know. So, Andy was like, you think you want to leave your purse in the car? She was like, no, I don't know what this is. So I'm going to take it with me. So they go to the door, they go knock on the door, and Zach and Fatima let them in the house. And they all sat down, and Fatima's like, so y'all ready to have this conversation? And that's where the episode ended, you guys. Now, their preview for next week's episode, I knew it was going to happen, but I just still, this is one of the reasons why I say I hate the way that Tyler is writing Karen's character. Because Karen is going to spot Fatima's engagement ring, and she's going to get mad at Andy because Andy didn't tell her. But see, here's my issue with Karen, right? You're going to be mad at Andy because Andy didn't tell you that they were engaged, but you actually have no reason to be mad at Andy because Andy's actually been a good friend to you and being a good friend to Fatima, right? Because she is not really putting herself in the middle of him. She just found out that they were engaged. She just found out that you are allegedly having Zach's baby, right? She hasn't told Fatima that, and she hasn't told you that. So it's not like she's saying, oh my God, Fatima, guess what? So you're gonna be mad. You might go off on me, but Karen is pregnant. Karen, you might be mad at me, but Zach and Fatima are engaged. She's not doing that, so I don't understand Karen. But let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications, and share the video, guys. And until the next time, please stay safe, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be sure to wash your hands. Be blessed, and I will see you guys in the next one.